Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ailey if you're new. Today's video has been requested a couple of times, can you believe it? So, we're going to do a day to night look using the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. This is one of my favourite palettes. I do absolutely love it. It's just really easy for like an everyday sort of look, or like a really throw it together quick night look. You don't really have to think about and you don't really have to do much work on, and I find that the tones and the browns in this one go really well with my eye colour, which is sort of blue, sort of green, sort of brown. That makes any sense. So I'm going to do like my whole face. I have foundation on just now and I've done my eyebrows. That's it. Because there are steps on the face as well that you kind of need to consider if you're going to do a day to night look as well, without ruining your makeup halfway through the day. Generally these are the kind of things that I use in bridal makeup, because technically bridal makeup is a day to night look. You just don't change up the eyes unless you're there. I mean, I have changed up the eyes for people before. I even do this with my own makeup when I'm going to a wedding, because if you're going to the day one you don't want to be too crazy, and then when you go to the night time you want to like amp it up a little bit sometimes. So contour first. So what I'm going to do is take my L'Oreal Infallible shaping sticks. I'm still trying to find an alternative to these because I love them so much. I'm doing this because we want it to last. Now, if you just put powder on, generally it could not last as long. Whereas when you've got that layer underneath, it gives it something to stick to. They're totally not even. So this just gives it like an extra layer underneath. Normal contouring, whatever suits your face shape. So I'll explain why I contour this way, just while I'm blending, just so that we can chat. I contour underneath my chin because I have a double chin, essentially. I've kind of lost my jawline. I did get jawline filler and I actually think that it's moved. It's kind of annoying because really it's just made my face look wider. I don't think I'd ever get it again. I really hope that it dissolves quickly, but I don't think it did me any good. If I kind of like tilt my head in a certain angle, you can see that I do have quite a nice jawline, but it disappears. So, I mean, I am losing weight just now, thankfully. If you want to follow my fitness journey, I'll link it up here for you, but that is going well. But it still needs a little bit of a helping hand. I have really high cheekbones, but because I have quite a square face shape, right now anyway, they're kind of, they need a little bit of a helping hand. Everybody likes to do this. Unless you're very, very angular, I would always say it's good to contour under your cheekbones. I do it quite high because when I blend it, it tends to come down a little bit. And then I just blend it up onto the apples. Not the apples, but like where you would normally put your blush. Because you can blend your brush in with your bronzer / contour. And it just gives a really nice effect. The higher you bring everything, the higher your face is going to look. So you don't want everything away down here because it's going to drag your face down, make your face look a funny shape. I never contour my nose unless it's a cream contour. I just find it goes awry. It never looks right. I have a relatively thin nose up here. It's relatively straight. Well, I think it's actually dead straight. But I have it, it's like a little bit wider at the nostrils. So I just sort of like focus it in on round here. I don't mind it. I've got one of those button noses. It's tiny. But the only thing is it does turn up. So with my highlight, that's how I fix that. I don't fix that with contour. You don't have to go crazy at this stage because like I say, it's just a base. Then I like to go in and do my concealer because I find that I can then blend my concealer into my contour and they blend really nicely rather than overpowering my concealer with my contour. And I'm not really that into doing the crazy lightness. You know, like when you do a light triangle. This is a Robert Welsh technique. Well, that's where I've seen it anyway. It may not be his technique, but that's where I learned it from. Basically, a little bit in the inner and outer corners so that you're not overpowering your eyes with concealer. You know, especially if you don't need a lot. If you don't need a lot, all you're doing is putting product there and it's going to cake up. Or potentially cake up. If you have like a big black ring around your eye, it might not be the best technique for you, but the longer you're going to wear your makeup, the less you want to be wearing. I know that sounds really ridiculous considering we're going to do cream products and then powder on top, but we're not doing a massive, massive amount. Like, I started with my foundation done, but I'll show you what I used actually. So I add a little bit of concealer there. They're just teeny wee dots. So the foundation that I used was the Candid foundation. This one is the photo ready one, so it's good for photos. So I mean, if you were doing a wedding or something like that, that's what you want. Is you want these ones that are sort of designed for photos because they minimize flashback and things like that. So if you're going to an event or something like that. So see how that just blends into my contour really nicely. Like I can take it down a little bit further if I want. The idea of doing this part second is you don't get too much up under the eyes. I am in my 30s, I do crease. I have creases. And obviously we're going to set that. I like the Charlotte Tilbury powder. We all know this. I love this powder. But you can use pretty much anything. The other one I like is the Candid Photo Ready one. I had a hair in my eye. Okay, so generally I wouldn't do my powder first before a cream blush, because obviously it can get all caked up. But with this one, it doesn't bother me. This is MAC Lady Blush, Cream Blend Blush. I don't even know if they still make this. I love this blush. And I mean, you could even put this on top of powder to refresh. So you don't have to go too crazy. This is just a base. Gonna let that sort of settle in. Highlighter's probably the only thing I won't do liquid. I mean, you can use a liquid highlighter if you wanted. I might, just for the sake of the video, go in with the Revolution Jelly highlighter. I love this stuff, it's so cool. So it looks like your highlight, contour and blush is like squished in, but you don't really want, you're not an ice cream. You're not, what's it called? Is it a Neapolitan ice cream? You don't want stripes. You want it to all sort of blend into one. It's not like it's stripe, stripe, stripe. They're all sort of meshed into one. If the sun is hitting you and you're a little bit red, they're going to sort of be on top of one another. It's not going to be like, oh, here's one, here's the next, here's the next, if you know what I mean. This is the Nude Bronze Light from Hourglass. It's expensive, but it's totally worth it. I absolutely love the stuff. You want to blend up. This isn't a contouring tutorial. I don't know why I'm focusing on it so much. But I never finished what I was saying about contouring. So obviously you do your cheekbones. Now if you have a big forehead, or you think you have a big forehead, you can go right down the middle of your forehead. Or if you have a smaller forehead and you want to elongate your face, just focus on the sides. Generally when I'm cream contouring, I'll go all round, and then when I'm adding in the powder on top, I sort of avoid the very middle and I just do the sides more than anything. Generally I like this. I like to keep it close to, like, I don't like it too pink, if you know what I mean. Keep it quite a nice neutral blush, or I like corally, not coral, like peachy blushes. Then we have highlight. So your highlight, again, you're just going over the top of your cream highlight. And I'm using the Jaclyn Hill Loose highlighter. What's it called? Balm in Loose highlighter. I thought these had a name. So with I was talking about my nose contour and that, I highlight the tip of my nose, but underneath. So I know that sounds like really strange, but it looks like, you know, like I'll highlight like the whole tip. So underneath and the top. And it sort of, I don't know, it's weird. It almost drops my nose down. I know that probably doesn't even make sense. Try not to do it too crazy right now. So, because we don't want to completely redo our eyeshadow or that later, we're going to do a good base just now. So I've got the Blank Canvas Acid Rain from P. Louise and Mitchell. So now for the fun part. Naked Reloaded. So I'll just take a big fluffy brush and go into Blur and put that like right underneath my brow bone. Just because this is a sticky base. It's not crazy sticky, but I want it to blend out at the top. Then I'm gonna grab, bucked over here, and a smaller brush, and I'm just gonna sweep that into my, like what would be my crease, with my eye open. So I'm just going for like a winged out kind of shape. You can be real messy with it. because for a day look, for me anyway, like I mean some people will go like full glam in the day and that'll be their day look. But other people, you know, you just want something. So I'm going to take this little pencil brush and I'm going to go back into bucked and we're going to go lower lash line. To give me the shape that doing a nice big winged out eye gives me, but without having to put tons and tons of makeup on, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't want to look crazy done up, but I want that winged out look. It naturally sort of like pulls the eyes up and out. I'm actually going to add a little bit more bucked onto my lower lash line. And you can add a liner into your waterline and it just helps define your eyes a little bit more. I usually take whatever highlight I used for my inner corners, but because we've got this palette out anyway, I'm going to grab Barely Baked and pop that in the inner corner. And that's it for the eyes, well, for the palette anyway. And then I'm going to take mascara. I'm going to do my 2 mascara trick. And some mascara can just really sort of amp up your look. Especially lower mascara. My bottom lashes are huge, so it looks like I've got little spiders crawling out my eyeballs. So this would be my daytime look. So we pretend that we've been out for however many hours. Usually my makeup stays the same. It really doesn't change at all. I have dry skin. If you have oily skin, obviously you might want to blot. You can use powder to replace anything that you may take off. But generally, if you've done it all good in the morning, then you should be good by now. So, how do we take this from a daytime like this to a nighttime? That's what we're going to do now. So, depending on what you want to do, and depending on how your face is holding up, you might want to just crank it up a notch. For nighttime, I want a slightly stronger contour. You might be out and it might be dark, so you might, you know, not be able to see everything on your face as well. So, you know, you can look kind of washed out a little bit. So I will dip into, this is my Makeup Geek palette. This is Cool Porcelain, which is my favourite contour shade of life, and I can't seem to find it anymore. I don't know if I can maybe get it direct from Makeup Geek or if it is discontinued. I'll maybe top up my blush a little bit, so back into the same blush. This is where you can add your highlight if you didn't put highlight on to begin with. And that is pretty much your face refreshed. That's hard to say. Okay, we're going to go straight on to the eyes. So, we have our base already there. Because we put on our P. Louise base, our eyes should be dandy. So I'm going to go into Endgame, which is this brown one here. No dicking about, just get in and do it. Especially if you don't have time, because obviously if you had time you could just take it all off and start again. So we're not going to do anything that crazy fancy, we're just going to amp it up. Placing that down, I'm going to get a brush and we're going to just pull it out to sort of like the same shape. If in doubt, blend it out. Softer it looks, the more intentional it looks, sort of thing. You know, like if you've just got something plomped on, it looks like, did they mean to do that? If you have it nice and smoky and blended, it looks more like it belongs there, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to grab a little brush. I don't want it too insane, but I'm going to take Angel Fire and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of Barely Baked. I'm not going to do a cut crease because we don't have time for that. We're doing a day tonight. We don't have time to be sitting down to do a cut crease. I just think that Barely Baked's maybe a little bit gold and the other one's just a little bit sort of like, what's the word? A little bit too intense. So mixing them together, don't mind my nut. Oh god, I've just poked myself in the face with that. Great. Okay, so then we can sort of like stop. Take a little bit of a step back and just see what we need to do. There's nothing on this brush now. So I'm just going to grab these edges because they're there, they're done. It's just need a little bit. So if I want to like blend it out a little bit more, I'll take Blur and Bucked, which Blur's the kind of one that's up here. It sort of acts like a rubber, you can sort of rub out little mistakes with, and Bucked, and I just want to mix them together so it's not too light. We can blend out that edge to stop it looking so choppy. Okay, so last little bit, I'm going to take that little pencil brush again, except instead of going into bucked, I'm going to go into endgame. And we're going to put that along the lower lash line. And any mascara that's sort of like fallen down there or like gotten caught on your lash line will sort of blend into it and it'll become part of your smoky eye. You can take a slightly bigger brush, like the brush that we used for endgame, just make sure it's got no excess product on it, and blend that out, and it sort of gets rid of any chunky bits on your eyelashes as well, because you're sort of like wiggling through them. Try not to poke yourself in the eye like I just did. If you're not a lashes wearer, then you could maybe go a little bit further, put a wee bit more shimmer on, you know, you could make it a little bit smokier, a little bit darker, whatever, you know, just kind of play around with it. Whatever you like to do, do that. But what I would recommend, if you do like to wear lashes, but like me, just don't wear them through the day, is stick on a pair of lashes. To refresh your eyelashes, if you don't want to wear lashes, get a little bit of setting spray, spray a spoolie with it through. You can do this with a really gentle eye makeup remover and it'll break down the lashes, the mascara just enough that it'll sort of become pliable again. You can add more, or this will just take off, like you can see there's one there on my face, any chunky bits, you know, like, because it does chunk up through the day, so any chunka bits, if you run this, it's just like to wet it really. Okay, and the last step would be lips. We just shoved on a very subtle lip colour earlier, so we want to amp that up a little bit, and I'm just going to take Chippy from Morphe, Stripped from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's quite light. It's probably the most comparable lipstick I can find to the Jamie Genevieve MAC collaboration. So if you're looking for something similar, it's a little bit darker. So that's the Jamie Genevieve one, and that's Stripped from Anastasia. I mean, they're close. And that is the completed nighttime look. So obviously you don't have to stick to the colours that I used. You can mess around with the other shades in this palette. But they're really easy just to add on top of one another. You don't have to have that base. As you saw, Endgame went on top really easily. Like, you don't have to be packing it onto a sticky base for it to come out really nice. But if you're trying to do it on the quick and you're just wanting to do, you know, let's say you've got a wedding or something like that and you want to go to the daytime and you want to swap for the nighttime when we can eventually go to weddings, that is, then this is the kind of look. So yeah, if you want to, I mean, you could do this with loads of different palettes, but obviously I was requested to use this one. If you've got any questions, anything at all, let me know in the comment section below. I will be happy to help. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you found it helpful, entertaining, it eased your mind for however long this video is going to be and took your mind off of the craziness that's going on just now, then obviously I would love if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I hope you're all keeping well, safe and sane during this crazy time. I hope that we can all go out again soon, and yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!